Good morning, everybody. Kip Teitsort with Chronicles of a Culture Changer. I'm going to ask you a couple of quick questions here that have to do with unofficial training. So let's say you're on a traumatic scene and in a pre-hospital environment, and it's a car crash, and there are people laying around, and a person comes up and they state that they're a doctor, and they start giving you orders. What do you do? Well, let's change it, and let's say you're in the emergency room, and a person claims to be a doctor, and you're not familiar with them, and they start telling you things to do. Again, you wouldn't just blatantly start to listen to them, because let's take it back to the emergency scene, a pre-hospital emergency scene, and it's a car crash. And when a person states that they're a doctor, this is something that we address in EMT or paramedic school, where we say, well, what kind of doctor, or what are their credentials? Because would it change things if this person was a witch doctor? Would it change anything if they were a doctor of chiropractic medicine versus a person who's trained in, say, emergency medicine or that type of a physician? Same thing goes into the ED. If this was a person who claimed to be a doctor of psychology, could they be giving you any advice on trauma as far as how to treat a person? So essentially what I'm trying to get at today is that we readily ask questions about things that we're trained on, but there are certain things that go on that we're not asking any questions about. Now, granted, although I specifically deal with violence and violence against healthcare providers and the way that we use force on the job, what I'm going to present to you now about unofficial training is you can use it all across the board. So the first thing that I want to say, if you're given advice from anyone, that's unofficial training, meaning you're sitting around the station, it's somebody that's offering you advice, whether it was solicited or not, but somebody's trying to tell you something about something. It doesn't matter what it is. It can be unofficial training if you're not prepared for it, meaning that when we're young in our careers, one of the most important things for us to do is to gain the acceptance of our peers. Believe it or not, when you really break it down, that's what you'll get a lot of people admit to. It's not something they readily tell you about, but they'll admit to it whenever you break it down. So here we go, unofficial training. If you're dealing with someone and they're giving you some advice, first thing that I'm going to ask you to do is qualify it. See if I can get that right there. Qualify it. Who is giving you the advice? Who is it? I mean, is it somebody that should be giving you the advice? The next thing is to take and validate it. When you validate it, does it make good sense to you? What they're saying, is it really making sense, or is it something that you kind of go, man, that's just off the wall, okay? The last thing you need to do is verify it. I want you to do your homework, research the subject. Whether this is something that I've told you through DT4 EMS or something that someone else is telling you about using force on medicine, or it could be about a way to handle a cardiac call. It could be a way to handle a trauma situation. What you need to do is always make sure you qualify it. So who is this person giving you the advice? Then you need to validate it. Does it make sense to you? Is it reasonable? Is what they're asking you to do or what they're sharing with you, does it sound reasonable? And then the last thing, it should be up to you, because we need to do this on a lot of stuff, is verify it. Verify what it is that they're telling you to do, because the more that you take your time and realize that mental preparation for what we have to deal with is just as important as any physical skill that you may possess, that there is so much more to this. You guys know that there is the what to do and what not to do on the job. That's what makes this stuff important. So take and qualify it, validate it, and verify it. And you don't have to argue with the person. Just think about it with yourself and then understand, is the advice I'm giving you correct? And do the same thing with anything that I've shared with you on here. Qualify it, validate it, and verify it. Guys, we'll see you later.